Because I heard my man make an exception to me, what I thought was an exception at that time until it was explained to me today.
Got you.
So I thought it was an exception. Came to my man like, yo, hey, I want the same exception, and he did my and I didn't like it.
Got you. So you mentioned me in your negotiation with him when I wasn't there. The thing that you thought I did 3 months ago and got mad about, even though that didn't really happen, this really did happen.
Listen to this. Marc Lamont Hill threw some serious shade at Queenzflip. Yeah, on the latest Joe Budden podcast, Marc Lamont Hill didn't hold back and called out Queenzflip directly. He took issue with what Flip said on the previous Patreon episode, where Flip highlighted that Marc Lamont Hill got some favoritism.
Man, you were picking and choosing, so by me saying picking and choosing that you gave favor to Marc and not Flip, that's right. That's not hating on the situation.
So here's the deal. Marc Lamont Hill apparently had some kind of special arrangement with Joe, whether it was leaving early or getting some perk, and that triggered Queenzflip to ask for the same treatment. Joe Budden, of course, firmly shut that down, and naturally it caused some tension. Now, if you step back and look at the bigger picture, there's a lot to unpack here, because one thing is clear. Marc Lamont Hill and Queenzflip have a history.
You said that I take that as disrespectful.
So there's a lot of you said that we take disrespectful, but for the second
you said I take disrespectful.
And this also ties into Queenzflip being a little myopic. He just doesn't see the bigger picture and all the perks he used to get. So much so that Melissa Ford actually called him out for it. Now, the way Marc Lamont Hill went at Queenzflip was pretty interesting. He said, yo, you talked about me when I wasn't here and assumed something happened that didn't, and you did that a couple months ago too, and it wasn't the case. So what exactly is Marc Lamont Hill referring to? Well, he's talking about when Queenzflip claimed Marc Lamont Hill went behind Cass's back trying to monitor payments so he could get the most. Marc Lamont Hill says that never happened, just like the favoritism stuff. He says that's not true either. Now, is it true? I don't know for sure. I do think Marc Lamont Hill gets some level of favor, but you have to really look at why. He's earned it. If it's extreme or he's pulling shady moves behind the scenes, that's another conversation entirely. Meanwhile, someone who really did operate behind the scenes and got away with it, Queenzflip. Remember, he used to threaten cast members, derail conversations, show up late, and even had that infamous moment running down on a fan.
Stand right there. Yeah.
Wait, come here.
Nah, what's up? You soft, man. You soft, nigga.
And now I believe it's actually written into their contracts. I'm like 99% sure there's a stipulation in the Joe Budden podcast contracts that no one can disrespect fans or threaten violence because of that wild incident Queenzflip had with a fan. Basically, there's a Queenzflip clause, all to make sure fans aren't intimidated by anyone on the show. So as you can see, Queenzflip is just a little off his rocker, and the way Marc Lamont Hill handled him, it was like light cooking but intense fire, if that makes sense. Even though it was quick, it hit several things that happened over the past year. The underlying truth? I really don't think Queenzflip and Marc are actually cool. They're putting on the front for work. A lot of us do that at jobs, pretend to like someone. And we even go further. Yeah, that's my friend. We're tight. That's what these guys do on the podcast. But what's really interesting is Queenzflip's manipulation. First, he's saying, oh, I wasn't trying to block Marc from perks. It was just a thing I had with Joe, not anyone else. Classic manipulation. This is how street dudes operate. They talk morals, act like they're different, but secretly do the same petty stuff they call out in others. So we'll see how this plays out. Overall, it's going to get tricky as the hierarchy gets set. There was a time when Marc was figuring it out, but he got it fast. And the thing he has on Flip is when Flip joined, he boosted the show, made it must watch, but lacked professionalism. Marc, on the other hand, may not always create viral moments, but he's professional. He cracks jokes, even uncomfortable ones, but he shows up on time, sets boundaries, checks with people if he crosses a line. Flip, no lip service. He'd say stuff like, yo, I'll fight cast members. Joe won't stop me. Queenzflip energy. I'm from Queens. That's the vibe he brought, and Joe hated it. The show can be a wild free-for-all, but when Flip tweets it publicly, like he's stepping over Joe, that's where Joe's hate level spikes. Marc doesn't do that. Let me know in the comments what you think about this back and forth. It was subtle, brief, but intentional and important. Now, for the rest of the episode, the main pod, they did solid work. Ish was good, Flip was solid, Joe did his thing, Parks was consistent. But Ice? Ice is rough. 5 years in, started in 2021, it's 2026, and he hasn't learned from the people around him. Case in point, the prenuptial convo. Joe asked, "What about you? Discussed it with your girl?" Ice looked bothered. "Yeah, we talked." "What did you talk about?" "Nah, that's it, we talked." Shut it down immediately. Ice can't even lie convincingly, can't entertain, and it's becoming a hurdle. Nobody cares though. It's Joe's friend, let him be. With new additions like B-Dot, his pitfalls will show more. On this episode, Joe made fun of B-Dot checking Ice. Ice didn't roll with it. He shuts down narratives, does the minimum, shows up on time. That's why Joe gives him leeway. Ice never goes straight to Joe for business. He goes to Ian or his own reps. That's respectable, but on the show, not so much. It creates lackluster content, but Joe lets it slide. He says Ice is a good guy, even if not a great podcaster. All right, that's my breakdown for now. Make sure you tap into my Patreon. We just had an enlightening discussion on Charlemagne and Joe Biden's weird past, how they verbally clashed and undermined each other. Not a new topic, but our take was insightful and entertaining. Also, check out Quiet Part Out Loud, my new interview channel, heavily influenced by Vlad TV and the art of dialogue. We'll interview people I find interesting. Plus, we've got the Drake versus Kendrick debate, high-quality content, top-notch editing and packaging. Special things happening here at The Stop. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.